Point 3, Part B. We just have one more page to do, and that's doing a couple more questions involving slope. First of all, the question says find a point B. So just notice down here that we've identified some point, and we're just labeling that point A. Okay, so this dot here represents some point A, okay? And it has coordinates 3 and 2, and just to remind you, 1, 2, 3 across is the first coordinate, and 1, 2 up is the second coordinate. And it's saying finding some point B, find some point B such that a line segment starting at A will have a slope of 2. So what does that mean? Well, it means that if I drew a line from A with a slope of 2, it would intersect this point B. And the point is that there are sort of infinite number of answers, okay? So if you were given this question on a test, I couldn't say, oh, that answer is right or wrong, unless you didn't use a slope 2. So you and the person beside you might have completely different answers, okay? So when we're doing this, there are many possible answers, and I'll show you why, afterwards. So we're just finding one of the, really, I say many, but it really is infinite. Possible spell. Okay? And I want to remind you as well, the little orange type here, when I say line segment, it just means that there's a clear beginning and end to the line, and usually that has a little dot. So we'll make a line segment AB, where A is the first point, and then we'll use a slope of 2 to find our second point. Okay? So when it says M equals 2 or slope equals 2, it looks hard to do. Like we did the other questions we did all were fractions. It was sort of easy to see the rise and the run, right? The rise was the top number, the run was the bottom number. With just the number 2 or a number, you have to keep in mind that 2 is equal to 2 divided by 1. So that means that if you're given just an integer as opposed to a fraction for your slope, you treat the run, the bottom part, as 1. Okay, so the rise is the number that you're given for slope, and the run is 1. And so the way that, I have this over 1 up 2, what do I mean by that? So once you've established this, then you take your point that you're given. Okay, so we're given this point right here, and we need to find, another point. And we could draw a line segment that goes forever, because it's not clear where it ends. But to do that, over 1, meaning, the run is 1, and up 2, rise of 2. That's the language I use. So over 1, up 2. There's a point. So that could be point B if I wanted it to be. Over 1, up 2. That could be another point. Over 1. I could do this forever, right? And it's just not clear, where the question wants us to end. We can pick anything. So if you're given this question, that's what we call an open-ended question. There are wrong answers, but there's lots of correct answers. So I could essentially take any one of these points, and obviously I'd like to. I'm not going to be able to draw a nice straight line, of course. But if I could, I would. But I could say that's my end point. But this could be my end point. And quite frankly, any point in between, but why would you want to use one of those? Because you can't figure out what they are. This could be my end point, or A can't be my end point. But let's just say we'll make this B. And so, like I say, it's just one of the many choices. And its coordinates are, coming down straight down here, 6 in the X and 8 in the Y. So that's one of the many possible answers. Okay? All right, moving on. This question's exact same, except now we have a negative slope. And similarly, I didn't bother to write down a fraction. So you have to know that if M is negative 3, that means that's like the rise on the top, and then underneath you put a 1. So my rise is minus 3, it's the number that's given, and the run is positive 1. I would hate for you to make the mistake and say minus 1. Okay? The rise has got to be positive. Okay? So minus 3, and then you put a plus 1 on the bottom. So how does this one go? Over 1, down 3. So let's go ahead. Over 1, down 3. 1, 2, 3. There's 1 point. So that could be my point B. Over 1, down 3. That could be my point B. Over 1, down 3. Any of these could be my point B. Okay? And I can just pick one. I'll make this one. And it's what? 5 in the x, so write that first, and 6 in the y. Okay, so there's my part B. But remember, I could have million, yeah, well, infinite. It's just that why would you ever pick one of the ones in the middle? Always try to pick ones that clearly intersect points on the graph. I'm just going to draw a line in here a little straighter than I've been doing so far. There we go. Okay, so that's that. And that's the end of our slope lesson. If you have any, you should make use of the space on your note. Okay, write down anything you're not sure of that we talked about. And I'll see you in class hopefully tomorrow.